This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers.
Hey, boys! Look what I got here!
Hey, where are the white women at?
Viewer discretion is advised.
SHMACKEMAGOB!
SHMACKEMAGOB, it's time for the only news that matters. And thank you very much, Red Alert, who did that SHMACKEMAGOB intro for the news. I love it. Even though it was sideways, I could have fixed it, but I dug the sideways vibe, man. So hey, if you want to send yourself saying SHMACKEMAGOB or your kid, send it to this email right here, and I'll put it up. Well, I'll put it up in order, because I have several that I haven't put up yet, so send it now. It'll be up sooner than if you send it later. All right, now it's time for the news. Now, it's a very slow news week this week. There's not much to talk about, so I figured I'm going to do something I don't do much. I have done it in the past, but I don't really do it much because, you know, people that leave stupid comments, they really are like, you know, pickle whistlers, and I pretty much delete it, and I delete them, and I'm done with it. But sometimes there's an exception of some that are so bizarre that I have to share it with you all. But before I share it, let me set it up. Last week on Kiss Wednesday, I did a video where it was, if I was to mix all 4 Kiss albums together, you know, in a mix, which would be the songs. And I picked every Ace Frehley song, and, you know, some parts I did a little sarcastic stuff. But anyway, here's the clips that I want to show you before I show you what this guy wrote about this video. Check this out. Off of Gene Simmons' solo album, track 4 will be Ozone. I didn't know that was on here. Oof. And then last but not least, off the Gene Simmons solo album, Fractured Mirror. I didn't know that was on here as well. Okay, so here is the comment, and I'm sorry, I know it looks blurry, but this is from Tim Morton, more like Tim Moron. He wrote, "You don't know what you're talking about. Ozone and Fractured Mirror are also on Ace's solo album, not Gene's solo album. Actually, you only picked song from the Ace Frehley album without realizing. Ha 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 ha. If you were such a huge fan of that album, you would know that Ozone and Fractured Mirror are Ace songs and not on Gene Simmons' solo album." Oh boy, I really hope this guy does not breed. Seriously. I was like dumbfounded by this. And now you all know where I get the inspiration for the FUKK puppet. I mean, the FUKK puppet is based on people like Tim Moron. And if you look closely, I don't know if you can make it out, 2 people like this comment. Oh my God, Kiss Tards are something else, man. I tell you, Tim Morton is as useful as taste buds on an asshole. All right, now let's get into the news. Angus Young said that Axl Rose was very pro when he stepped in for Brian Johnson. Says, I got a lot of respect for him. And so do I, man. Look, Axl Rose, still people goof on him for not being on stage on time, which he was notorious for back in the day. But man, once he joined AC/DC for that tour, I went to the show, they were on time. And I saw Guns N' Roses after that, and they were on time. I don't think Axl Rose has ever been late since. Could be wrong, but as far as I know, he's been on time ever since he was under the employment of Angus Young. What an amazing show. You know, I did a podcast that just came out, the VIERA Vault, where I was talking about, look, Brian Johnson's back in the band. They didn't keep Axl, and I'm fine with that because I love Brian Johnson. He belongs in AC/DC. But man, I would have loved to have at least a live album because it was phenomenal. The set list was incredible. And Axl nailed it. All right, next story. Chris Cornell's widow is suing Soundgarden. Vicky Cornell says Kim, Matt, and Ben from Soundgarden offered her just $300,000 for Chris's share. This amount, she says, is far lower than the real value of the Chris Cornell's estate interest in Soundgarden, especially considering the fact that the band got an offer for $16 million for an outside investor for Soundgarden's masters. Holy mackerels. That is some low shit there, if it's true. I gotta say, man. I've seen some people online bash this girl for, I can't even remember what reason. Like, you know, she's like a Yoko or she's money hungry or whatever. Hey, man, I think Chris Cornell would want a lot of money to go to his children, at least to his children. So you got to remember stuff like that, you know? So if this is all true, I think that's bullshit. She should get an equal share. It should be split 4 ways. That's what I think. All right, next story. Dee Snider attacks the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he says the Rock and Roll Hall committee members are arrogant, elitist assholes who look down on metal and other bands that sell millions because we're not their definition of cool. The fan votes is they're throwing a bone to the peasants. I want to say F you, but I want them to have to deal with us. I wonder if Dee Snider saw my news segment last week, because he pretty much mirrors what I'm saying. And for those that didn't catch last week's news, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks. It's a no-brainer, but I think what's worse than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is all you idiots that want metal bands in there. You want the acceptance of these arrogant, elitist assholes. Shame on you, you bunch of ass munches. All right, next story. Eddie Van Halen's ex-wife, Valerie Bertinelli, says she has been grief-shamed following Eddie's death. Can people be any more despicable than that? Grief-shamed? She knew him for 40 years. He's the father of her son. They loved each other all the way to the end. They got remarried, but they were still close friends. People suck. I only saw like a couple times, like, you know, Valerie did a couple tweets and like on an interview on TV, they asked her how she was doing and she wasn't doing well. She's grief shaming. I feel bad for Valerie Bertinelli, one of my first crushes when I was a little kid. And she's still beautiful. I think she's 60. Grrr. I think Valerie rules. And I hope all these people that accused her of grief shaming continue their streak of never getting laid. You have to be a bitter, horrible person to say something like that. Your life just must suck to say Valerie's grief shaming. I'm telling you, I guarantee these people are not fun to hang out with. All right, final story. Paul Stanley of Kiss got really upset with somebody that is on Twitter under the name of Thinking Stanley, who's been goofing on Paul for a while, bringing up the fact that he's a hypocrite on many of the things that he says. And, you know, about the, you know, everybody should stay inside, you know, and because of the corona, and yet he travels to Dubai and brings up the fact that he lip syncs and just a host of other things. Every time Paul Stanley like tweets something that's very hypocritical, Thinking Stanley's right there to point out his hypocrisy. And Paul had enough, and Paul got information on Thinking Stanley, and I don't know, man. To me, it sounds like somebody narked him out. Some people are saying he got his IP address, but I don't know how you can get his IP address when you know too much about him. But here's what Paul Stanley said. We know who you are, Tim. We know your accounts. You can't hide anymore. How about we post your name, your wife's name, your business, and your phone number. 49 years old and about to have your lawn turned upside down. I gotta say, before Paul found out it was this guy Tim, I got a message from somebody that they were saying like that I was Thinking Stanley. People were thinking, I mean, really analyze this. Why would I make a fake account going after Paul Stanley when I do it here on YouTube, my face showing, my name. I got nothing to hide. Why the hell would I make a fake account to bash Paul Stanley when I have this YouTube account that shows it all? But that's how some kisstards are. You know, they're like, oh, I bet it's Dr. FUKK. Mommy, I bet it's Dr. FUKK. Anyway, so there was another tweet that, man, I can't find it, but Paul said something to the effect of, you know, he's bashing this guy he's bashing Stinking Stanley for spreading lies. Nothing could be further than the truth. Stinking Stanley wasn't lying. Everything he was saying about Paul was true. What was really pissing Paul off was that this guy was calling out his hypocrisy and having this picture as his profile picture. But I love the comments that Paul got with that one. Some of those kids were like, ignore him, Paul. We all know the truth. No, you don't.
You can't handle the truth.
And I also got to add, Thinking Stanley is not a fan of Soul Station. He calls them Stool Station. And he made a bunch of memes about it. And I think that might have upset Paul Stanley of Soul Station as well. Well, that's it for the news, everybody. Check out my podcast, The VIERA Vault. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. Stay frosty and SHMACKEMAGOB. The news this week was brought to you for the love I have for the brand new box set, the Volume 4 Super Deluxe box set from Black Sabbath. It took 10 days to get here due to the nasty weather out there and the virus and so on, but it's finally in my hands. And on this Sunday, on Black Sabbath Sunday, right here on the Almost Human channel, I'm going to do an unboxing of it. So tune in.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.